To many Nigerian citizens, the government does not exist for them. Over the years, a lack of transparency and accountability in the use of public financial resources has resulted in a culture of mistrust. And to make matters worse, in recent times, the decline in crude oil prices, coupled with poor management of resources, has left both federal and state governments with significant shortfalls in revenues needed to deliver basic services. These weaknesses in economic, fiscal, and public financial management systems at national and subnational levels have over time impacted negatively on a large percentage of Nigerians who do not have access to quality education, health facilities, good roads, and other infrastructure.
The kind of governance we experience right now, it's not what you want to imagine. I pay my taxes, however, I still ride on very bad roads. I suffer huge traffic here and there.
Like yesterday, I was inside the traffic like 2 hours, 3 hours without getting home in time.
We are rich in the country, but we are not using our resources in a meaningful way.
Considering the widespread and institutional policy weaknesses in public service in Nigeria, the European Union, in collaboration with the World Bank, is supporting the federal government of Nigeria to improve transparency, accountability, and quality in public financial management in the participating states. This is through the rebuilding of basic systems of public finance and governance at both state and federal levels, such as regulatory frameworks, resource generation, accounting, expenditure control, financial reporting, and public procurement through an intervention known as SLOGOR, the State and Local Governance Reform Project.
The SLOGOR project is basically a public financial management reform focused project. It's based on a trust fund, funding from the European Union, but administered by the bank on the trust fund arrangement.
One of our main goals is to reduce poverty, to improve lives of many, especially poor people. And if public resources do not get to its final destination or are not used properly, then that impacts on the possibilities of improving lives, especially in the poorer parts of this country.
SLOGOR, a grant fully funded by the European Union, was introduced in 2015 in the 6 states of Kano, Cross River, Yobe, Anambra, Jigawa, and Osun, with the aim of strengthening governance in these states by improving accountability and transparency in their public finance and human resource management systems, building capacity in revenue generation, audits, budget reforms, public procurement, and the state's Integrated Financial Management Information System, SIFMIS. The project was designed into 3 key components. Component A was designed to deal with public financial management reforms. Under this component, issues like public finance management legislation, internal and external audits, budget reforms, public procurement reforms, and state tax authority reforms would be addressed. The second component was designed to address issues related to support to local governance. The objective of this component is to promote devolution of functions to local government in participating states and enhance the performance of selected local governments in each state in the area of planning and implementation of social services. The third and last component addressed project coordination at federal and state levels. Although the overarching aim of the SLOGOR project is to improve accountability and transparency in governance across the participating states, at the time of its introduction, each state had unique challenges that they hoped the project would help them fix. In Anambra State, for example, budgeting issues associated with incremental budgeting and unrealistic budgets that impact negatively on budget performance was one of the key challenges that needed to be addressed.
In the area of budget, there was need to address some gaps, like some venture documents, some policy documents we required to do planning, like a medium-term expenditure framework and a medium-term sector strategy. We do not have enough capacity among the staff, the skills to produce a good one.
But what SLOGOR was able to do for us is they upped the level. They helped us go about those producing those documents in a more methodical, systematic, but also granular fashion.
Besides Anambra State, Other participating states under the SLOGOR project also received support with their budgeting processes.
We have in the state here what we call the Jigawa State Comprehensive Development Framework, which is our overarching state development document. That document is supposed to inform the annual budget. So SLOGOR has really supported in that respect, ensuring that our budgets are policy-based, they are comprehensive, and they are really talking to, helping us implement the state development plan.
What SLOGOR has done as an intervention in that area is develop an economic blueprint, a 10-year economic blueprint tagged State of Osun Development Plan for 2019 to 2028.
Another critical challenge that participating states had to grapple with was in the area of internally generated revenue, IGR. With the decline in oil prices and reduced federal allocation, states across the Federation have been struggling to operate, with many turning to their state internal revenue services to boost much-needed income. Unfortunately, the mistrust of government by the citizenry has reinforced certain antisocial behaviors like tax evasion. And one of the reasons given for evading tax is that the money is not seen at work. In this area, Anambra State received the support of SLOGOR to build capacity, create awareness and sensitization, and ultimately increase her IGR.
With the intervention of SLOGOR, we were able to create record of over 806,000 adults that are supposed to be paying tax in the state, which has formed a significant base of our operations. As at 2013, the average annual revenue generated by the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service, that is the state IGR, was 9 billion. And as at the close of 2017, the figure has nearly doubled. We closed over 17 billion in 2017.
The IGR success story of Anambra is the same across the other 5 states that are benefiting from SLOGOR. Each of these states has recorded various levels of growth and improvement in generating internal revenue.
In 2013, we have 11 billion as consolidated revenue. In 2016, it moved to 17 billion. So I can tell you that marginally we have some progresses and improvements in IGR collection.
And the IGR, our baseline was 2 billion in 2013. But now Jigawa is generating over 9.4 billion. That's glaringly that something has happened.
We're seeing an increase in revenues, increase in number of taxpayers and PE organizations, PE agents, and various other taxes. So clearly SLOGOR has impacted positively on what we do.
Many problems in government's public financial management stem from institutional weaknesses like incomplete statutes and regulations. Under the Public Financial Management Reform component, the project is helping the participating states to, among other things, update their organic public finance laws and financial regulations, as well as commit to higher standards of transparency and fiscal reporting.
We commenced public finance reforms in Cross River State in 2005, but the audit law had existed from 1956 and was codified in 2004. This law, of course, has become obsolete. SLOGOR supported us to make a generic law, auditing law, which is today is with the Ministry of Justice.
Take, for example, this Office of the Auditor General. The only issue now remaining to get us to international standards is the actualization of the domestic audit law, they said. SLOGOR is presently assisting. In the next 2 months, we will be coming up with the organic audit law.
So far, we have developed our 3 bills. The audit and the IGR codified bill have already been passed to the House of Assembly. In fact, they've had first and second readings. And the financial organic law bill, is also about to be sent to the House of Assembly after being assented at the Executive Council. These laws were developed or reviewed by SLOGO's intervention.
Another key area of focus for SLOGOR is public procurement. Since budget execution is substantially public procurement, which is a central function of government, setting up a transparent procurement system was imperative in order to guarantee good returns on government investments. In Osun, through the support of SLOGOR, the state has been able to record some great progress in this area. Apart from the establishment of a public procurement agency, the state's legislature also passed a public procurement law and set up a legal framework for public procurement.
Ahead of SLOGOR intervention, we don't have any legal framework that regulates procurement process in the state. It is one of the key interventions of the project to support the state government of Osun to have that legal framework. And reliably, I can tell you that in 2015, this was passed into law. So now we have the standard bidding document for works, standard bidding document for goods, and standard bidding document for consulting services.
Another key subcomponent under the SLOGOR project is auditing of the state's financial records. Prior to the introduction of the program, the internal and external audit functions were quite challenging in the states. Internal auditors were inexperienced, and as a result, auditing was not conducted efficiently or in a timely manner. But with the support of SLOGOR, the story is changing. Auditors in the participating states have received training, equipment, and support to work efficiently and deliver reports on time.
We didn't have chairs and tables in our field offices, in zonal offices. But last year, SLOGOR came, gave us, I can't remember, over 30 chairs, tables and chairs. We supplied 20 computers.
When SLOGOR came, audit forum was introduced. Audit forum is a situation where the Auditor General presents the audited account of the state to the members of the public for their own input. It's a new innovation and it's a new system in the process of accountability that has met the yearnings of the people.
One central thread that connects all the components of the SLOGOR is the deployment of the State Integrated Financial Management System, SIFMIS. SIFMIS is an ICT-based system which automates several aspects of public finance management and governance, such as budgeting, human resources, and even payroll. Currently, SIFMIS is at various stages of deployment across the 6 SLOGOR states, and the public sector workers are now being trained in the use of ICT to enable them to be fully absorbed into the new ICT environment that SIFMIS requires.
SIFMIS have given the state opportunity to clean their data, to know who are actually working for them. If there is any mismanagement of public resources, you will be able to detect and close the leakages. And through closing leakages, the state will earn more income.
There's a standard we are trying to attain all over the world now. We want to migrate from cash basis to accrual basis of accounting. So SIFMIS, it's one of those areas that will actually get this migration done in a very neat way, and will get a value for what we are preparing for.
On a quarterly basis, when I'm doing my budget implementation reports to Executive Council, rather than the 2-week process it takes me to produce that report, at the touch of a button, His Excellency will be able to see, and the state will be able to see, what the budget implementation figures are and what have you.
SIFMIS is very, very sensitive. It is all automation. So that is why Jigawa State has taken SIFMIS very seriously. In fact, right from inception, we have SIFMIS implementation coordinating team, which will be working with the contractors right from the beginning of the SIFMIS implementation to the end.
One of the major areas where SLOGOR has assisted the state is in the area of SIFMIS. They are spending a lot of money on that direction, about 2 billion naira plus. They are through with the evaluation and they have sent to the World Bank. So now they are now waiting for a response from the World Bank, of which when they receive the approval from the World Bank, then the successful contractor will go ahead with the implementation, which means the equipments, the training of the staff and what have you, and then we'll be on from there.
Another key area of focus for SLOGOR is the devolution of functions to local government councils. The aim is to ensure grassroots participation in governance.
At the beginning, most state governors felt that we are trying to make the local government to be autonomous. It is not power we are talking about. It is not autonomy we are talking about. We are talking about the involvement of the local councils, the grassroots people, to improve their own welfare, particularly in areas that most affect them. Because issues like health, education, and water affect them. And of course, the project has set aside some amount for initial startup of this component in those various states.
It has been 4 years since the introduction of SLOGOR across the 6 states, and to date, all states have recorded immense progress across the various components of the project. Relevant legislation has been passed in most of the participating states, budgets are more comprehensive and transparent, IGR is on the increase, and most importantly, the citizens are more aware and trusting of the government.
Shekarar da ta wuce mun kasance muna biyan haraji ne, suna zuwa su kawo mana takarda kamar su ba mu sati ɗaya suna rawan takarda, idan sun ba mu sai su zo su karɓi kuɗi mu ba su a hannunsu, amma ba za su kawo mana rasid ba sai a kai kimanin ma kusa da wata shekarar. To alhamdulillah yadda dai aka zo aka samu tsari, wannan tsarin ya fi kowane tsari sauki, za ka iya musu transfer ko ta mobile transfer ko da katin ka na ATM ko ka je banki ka musu deposit, wannan shi ya fi ko yanzu ya fi sauki fiye da na last years.
Every year, every community gets 20 million naira across the states, about 179 communities, and they get it to do projects that they select by their own contractors, however, but the state monitors. Every single community can point to, okay, our town hall was built, our roads were tarred, our drainages were desilted and cased. These things were achieved because of increase in IGR and also value for money. SLOGOR has really been of help to Anambra state government.
This is the biggest park in Okasa local government. Manambo, due to na annual man, maybe see then governor in Batano, Chichem will be when we choose your community project, then Amobia 20 million naira. Then they worry with those park. So since that time, the park, if you park, then I was going to Oklike Park because Baba Kaya, I have more Bakunonga, Pinita, because formerly, but about the Kebe Abalosa. But today, the market is moving. Even I got from
Yobe does not owe salary of even a month. All our 17 local governments were given 300 million purposely for water, health, education. Despite the insurgency, despite the money we've been spending, because we have spent over 15 billion naira in assistance to the security agencies, government has never borrowed a kobo from any financial institution. And all this thing is because we have keyed in the transparency projects of SLOGOR.
For us, the primary impact of SLOGOR support is in the area of personnel capacity. Then the mobility for value for money audit.
When the government is transparent, the population benefits. With control of about half of public revenues, it is obvious that the quality of public finance management at the subnational level will have a significant impact not only on the overall fiscal management and macroeconomy of Nigeria, but also on the ability to improve service delivery and reduce poverty. But as the project draws to an end, the question of sustainability arises. How will the states continue in this line of transparency?
Much of the responsibility will lie with the recipient state. They have now the disposal of improved and modern PFM, public financial management systems. But I think the main responsibility lies with the states, state governments, and also, of course, with the federal government of Nigeria.
Well, you must know that sustainability relies on the internal budget. The subnationals will have to make adequate provisions for sustainability in their budget. And to that extent, we've been paying advocacy visits so that they can appreciate the importance of continuity and sustainability of this project. I wish SLOGOR will continue for another 10 years so that the effect will be more ravaging, but certainly it's been a success story.
The model we've adopted is to carry everybody along. It's all participatory. The civil servants are carried along. Every reform that we're doing is embedded within government. None is outside the government, because we realize that the government is the engine of growth. That's the part of government that is sustainable.
In addition, a unit will be set up in each state to manage this new system that they are putting in place. And we are going around the states to market the project more to them, to ensure that they put in place structures that will ensure continuity.
Looking at current statistics, there has been varying degrees of successes across the states despite diverse challenges. When it comes to improved transparency and the public financial management in participating states, 4 states of Jigawa, Osun, Yobe and Anambra now have their state government audited accounts submitted to the legislature within just 6 months from the end of the financial year. This target is an improvement on the previous 12-month time period. Also, since the start of the project, IGR has shot up significantly in participating states, particularly in the states of Kano, 83%, Jigawa, 233%, Anambra, 102%, and Cross Rivers, 51%. These are well above the set target of 40%. On public contracts above threshold awarded through open competition, Jigawa State has achieved 100%. In this while, Yobe and Osun have both met the set target of 80%. On devolution of authority and function to local government by state governments, roadmaps that are set for formal adoption and implementation have been fully developed in all 6 participating states. 5 states, Osun, Yobe, Anambra, Kano and Jigawa, are now up to date in publishing Auditor General's reports. On SafeMIS implementation, despite the challenges, Kano and Jigawa states have signed contracts and implementation has commenced. Yobe and Cross River states are at advanced stages of contracting and rapid implementation should commence subsequently. Meanwhile, electronic taxpayer database management systems have been established in Anambra, Cross River and Kano states. Discussions are also on for the co-hosting of taxpayer data for Jigawa and Yobe by Kano State Internal Revenue Service. If this succeeds, it will be the first of its kind in Nigeria and will hopefully provide the impetus for the development of a consolidated taxpayer database for the country in line with international best practice. In all, the percentage of women direct beneficiaries of the project currently stand at 34%, far ahead of the 11% at the start of the project 4 years ago, although barely short of the set target of 35%. Good governance is possible when government is committed to being transparent and accountable. When government is accountable, the citizens are more trusting in their leadership, and this benefits everyone. With SLOGOR, the hope is that these 6 participating states will be a shining example of how government should work for the people.